Here now with more on the recent Arab protests against the nation-state law is Dr. Martin Sherman, the founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies. Dr. Sherman, thank you so much for coming back in today.
Thank you for inviting me again.
All right, so first question, what's your initial reactions to this protest, and maybe some of the points that they made, going back to Netanyahu's point about, a land of all of its peoples versus the Jewish state?
Well, I have quite a few disagreements with Netanyahu, but on this point, I think he was spot on. I think that what we saw at the demonstration last night is precisely the defining proof of how important the nationality bill is for anyone who wants to preserve Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. There's so many falsehoods being propagated about the law. The law itself deals with national identity. There is another basic law that deals with equality of citizens, and together they ensure that Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people, and that the citizens, including their non-Jewish citizens, have equal civil rights. Anyone who claims the contrary is just being deceitful.
Or ignorant, I
suppose but probably willfully ignorant.
All right, well, so, moving on, a point that Netanyahu said earlier about, how the opposition wants to make the state a state for all of its people. Why is that?
Well, you could say this, I think this came across very clearly at the demonstration. Look, I would probably admit that the large majority of the Israeli Arabs are not actively disloyal. But in many ways, they are passively disloyal to the notion of Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people. And the proof of that is that they voted almost en bloc. Over 80% of them voted for the joint list, which is a self-professed anti-Zionist party. That's the whole raison d'etre of their existence. So if almost the whole Arab population votes against the idea of Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people, that's something that must be addressed. And I think it's important that this law has been passed because it protects constitutionally against, for instance, the abolition of the law of return. Because if you only have a basic law that deals with civil equality and you don't have one that defines the national identity, then they could come to the High Court and say, listen, we're civilians, we're citizens, we want equal rights, and we want to bring our families here as well. Something at the moment this is only secured for Jewish people. And the law of the return has been one of the major linchpins of Israel. The massive immigration from the Soviet Union would have been impossible without that law. And many leading figures in Israel are only here because of the law of return. So I think people sort of have lost sight of what Israel is and why it was established and how it developed. And I find the criticism, especially the fierce criticism coming from so-called Zionist Jewish sources within Israel, I find it very difficult to understand. As you say, they're either woefully misinformed or willfully misleading.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Dr. Sherman. There's so much more that needs to be discussed about this law. A lot of people are still up in arms. Our discussions aren't going to solve that today. But again,
hopefully just a little bit.
Hopefully just a little bit. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.